Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols, the Advanced Protocols Data Project. It's clear when you look at UFOs and the whole broad spectrum of parapsychology and phenomenology, there is this trickster element, and it seems to be universal in all of these different fields. And it even seems to be very prevalent in just the structure of life itself. You know, we have a lot of different names for it, but it seems to me that it proves the existence of a universal Murphy's Law. And, you know, when you look at quantum physics, ultimately, you can't know anything. It's about percentages. And when you look at the most fundamental of particles, in terms of knowing what they're going to do, it's very, very difficult. In essence, what science has done now is kind of categorize their actions into probabilities, meaning that the subatomic particles themselves are very trickstery. And there's a lot of different names for it that are really cool, like mercurial, based on the god Mercury, and the trickster, and hermeneutics, and duplicitous, and guile, and ruseful, and stratagem, and there's lots of different cool words. But let's explore this mercurial thing for a minute, because I think it could give us some answers and at least some paths to follow where there may be answers. So when you think about something being mercurial, like the liquid or like the god Mercury, they have very specific qualities. It's eloquent, it's ingenious, it's fast, it's shrewd, volatile, changeable, fickle, thievish at times, dangerous if angered, quick-witted, it's funny, it's methodical, it's moody, it can disappear, it's unpredictable. And interestingly enough, I think that describes all of these different types of phenomena. And let's look at hermeneutics for just a moment as a philosophy. Okay, in order to get understanding, you raise a question, you have a need for this meaning that you express through speech, you engage with the phenomena, or the UFO, or the ghost, or the paranormal, and you try to get this engagement that elicits some feedback, which challenges your understanding of the whole thing. And that challenge triggers a reflection and a reinterpretation for greater understanding, and then you're back at the beginning of where you were, trying to find understanding, starting from a place of understanding. So that's the hermeneutic loop. And as a philosophy, it falls, and a perspective on life and a perspective on approaching science, it falls into an interesting place. And we're not going to have a philosophical discussion here, but I thought this is a worthwhile discussion in order to try and find some ways to understand this phenomena better. So, if you look here, we go from the whole to looking at the parts to back looking at the whole again. And there's something called a hermeneutical spiral, where as you learn, your view of the world kind of grows larger and larger. But at times it gets smaller and larger and smaller and larger. And I think that's kind of a healthy perspective, a kind of a healthy way to learn and grow and be flexible and be willing sometimes for your understanding to decrease until it increases again. So, by its nature, being unpredictable, you can imagine how tough it would be to capture this stuff and to quantify it, because by its very nature, it does not want to be quantified. So how would you try and get more information on it? Well, the government thinks shooting down is one of the great ways to get information on UFOs. But perhaps asking, being straightforward, appealing to the phenomena with good intent. And instead of chasing the phenomena, change yourself and let the phenomena come to you. A lot of groups have had success with this, CE5 groups around the world, and of course there's people you guys know and I know who are successful at this. Of course, you could try and use technology and double-blind trickery to try and trick the trickster, but I have a feeling you will get tricked. You can use speculation based on this trickery to try and set up observation traps. You could just be lazy and monitor others' successful enterprises. But I think perhaps maybe an anthropological meta-study of the mischievous archetype throughout history, throughout all the different cultures, could produce some interesting reoccurring data that might be useful. Maybe there are provocations, universal elicitations, or animals always associated, weaknesses of this archetype, and it might be worth an exploration. I'm sure there's probably some books out there that I haven't found that deal with this. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to explore. And how would you guys try to understand something that by its nature loves being ununderstandable? Pretty fun mental puzzle and challenge. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think about this? Do you think that this universal kind of trickstery sense of random fun is a real thing? Or this is just our human interpretation of the chaotic nature of reality? I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Much love.